Hollow Knight is largely a game about maps. Getting excited whenever you find an eccentric, lovable cartographer, learning to read a map, figure out how to add more to the map, including searching every nook and cranny to have a full map, and most of all, trying to figure out where you are on the map. The variety of boss fights, bugs, and areas you travel through are there to lure the unsuspecting soul into playing before they realize their new passion for cartography. As suggested, I went in seeking to beat the game without charms and without healing. Specifically, healing from soul, since I want benches for checkpoints too much to give up on my first playthrough. Charms offer beneficial effects that I shall never get to use, and soul healing is the main way to heal throughout the game, so none of that. To make things harder, I won't heal at a bench unless I'm trying to checkpoint there to minimize healing. It's pretty simple rules, so let's get right to mapping out the land of Hollow Nest. Oh, and one more thing. My friend Carly's the one who pushed me to play this game in the first place, and they did some really amazing artwork of Hollow Knight, plus many other cool pieces of art I highly recommend checking out. I'll leave a link in the description. Immediately gaining the ability to heal, I'd be very tempted to use it, but apparently it's for higher beings only. And well, I gotta say, this all looks very underground, which is the opposite of high up, so this can't be for me. Maybe one of these flying guys would qualify, but when I try to tap them to get their attention, well, they certainly need healing now, but it seems a tad late for it. Cornifer, the adorable Weevil cartographer, is right below, and he's taller than I, so he might qualify as a higher being, but I don't think he needs the healing as he seems to have no trouble traveling these dangerous lands, charting everything and selling me the maps. Not yet obsessed with maps, I'm more concerned at the moment with not being killed by the flying nuisances around here, and so I'm an easy victim to death from above by Mother Nature. My first death, and a lesson that I have to fight my own shade in order to reobtain my lost Geo, but a lesson that would very quickly be given again and again. I discover a little grub guy trapped down here, and it is my only wish to save him, but alas, I too short. I shall be back someday, little guy, never fear. But first I must wake this mother and inquire as to where I'm supposed to be going. I think she's telling me to go up, down, up, down, up, down. But my cursed allergies means merely touching her leads to another death. I do get lost a little trying to get back to her, but upon re-meeting it is a cinch to calm her down. She nods vigorously and thanks, takes a nap, and gives birth to many buzzing children. I quickly put them down to nap too, so they don't wake their deflated sleeping mother, and take my leave to let her rest. I follow her advice, heading up and down, but only seem to find dead end after dead end. So it's time to return to Dirtmouth to buy my first charm, the compass, which would allow me to know my own location on the map. No charms allowed, so I'm gonna have to very carefully trace my movements and memorize the map all the more instead. As of now, I have no idea what any of this means, but the best way to learn is to dive right in. This armored bug refuses to nudge out of the way, so I can only dive so far, but that gives me the chance to find and save a grub. I completely lost track of my shade, but I did find someone even shorter than I, so that's a win I'd say. I spend a good deal of time after that exploring the same few rooms as I walk in circles, staring at my map, trying to decipher it till I come across someone new. The false knight is quite large, which is admittedly pretty easy to beat, compared to me, and I find it's a terrible strategy to hide in the corner as he blocks my way out with his hefty frame and large hammer. Turns out if you don't do that though, speed is not his strength, as strength is his strength, making it pretty simple to avoid getting crushed before the poor guy knocks himself down with a massive crash. He keeps letting out all this orange gas, and it makes me think perhaps he's so upset because he's terribly gassy. So I burp him as best as I can until he lets it all out, and I leave him quickly so he doesn't feel awkward about a stranger burping him. I take off a while, get lost in the dark as opposed to my normal of lost in the light, and finally end up where I began, finding the shaman right above where I last left the false knight. My new snail friend teaches me to unleash a vengeful spirit, something I'm hesitant to do at first. But if it's the only way to get these rude and movable bugs to get out of the way, then I'll do what I must. What is it with these bugs and giving birth, or chucking their children at me? Do I look like a suitable caretaker? I can barely find my own way, let alone look after little ones. Another charm gained from my trouble, but this one has nothing to do with maps, so why would I even want it, even if I was allowed to use it? The new path forward is very green. A green path, some might call it. Not me, but someone probably would. More very gassy individuals here, and I do what I can to burp them all without getting caught in it. Whatever they're eating down here, I do not recommend. Nor would I recommend bathing in their acid water, but it is quite easy to accidentally do. I'm excited to discover my Weevil friend again, gaining the map to this green land before I immediately chuck myself into the nearest spikes. Another choice I'd not recommend copying. Slightly under Dirtmouth, I also uncover where all the grubs I save return to, under the careful watch of the Grub Father, who rewards me greatly. In fact, he rewards me so much money as I save his grubs throughout my adventures, that I have to wonder, where did he get all his geo? Is this the Grub Mafia? Good grub investments? Grub retirement money? Perhaps I'm safe for not knowing. Just happy to help all the cute creatures. Right after, I come across Hornet, a much more spry fighter than I. But the room we're fighting in is pretty roomy, and with how predictable of a fighter she is, I'm disappointed I lose to her even once. I shall enjoy my new Mistborn cloak though. Oh, sorry, Mothwing cloak that allows me to dash through the air. Stylish and useful, no better combo. Also, I think I'm being haunted now, but I guess everything has its downsides. After that victory, I come across a new area, the Fungal Waste. I become waste myself by diving immediately into acid, and then I meet a creepy new friend, Leg Eater. Thankfully, I have very tiny legs, so he doesn't seem to be interested in living up to his name. I probably shouldn't judge him so harshly when he's actually one of the few non-hostile folks I've come across though. I play dodgeball with a couple large mushrooms, make a nice new underground friend named Cloth, and then spot Hornet again. I give chase, a little too well, and dive back into more acid. It's much safer and much more rewarding to find Cornifer again instead. Except I'm low on geo, and I can't afford his map. What's the point of money if not for more maps after all? I rush to earn the funds, spending all but one of my geo on the new map. I still have no clue where I am or where I'm going. But we'll figure it out step by step, right? This giant bit of moss seems as lost as I am, rushing back and forth with no real direction. Maybe no one knows where they're going, and we're all just stumbling in the dark. Except Cornifer, of course. That guy's a legend. Wrong way or right way, I can be sure it's a dangerous way as I run into the Mantis village, full of warriors who don't much care for the intruder in their midst. They aren't too much trouble to avoid or best, and it isn't long till I've acquired Mantis Claws, which let me jump off walls to higher areas. I'm a little closer to being a higher being after all, but instead of up, I head further down, into the depths of their village, which is not very welcoming, both for the locals' response, but also for the spikes everywhere. Surely this can't be safe for them either, but guess it's not my role to judge their interior design. My role is that of the victim, as I come across Lords of the Mantis and proceed to challenge them for the right to pass safely on. Not one of my brighter moves. Until now, no boss had managed to beat me more than 3 times, but the Mantis Lords, despite their very low variation in attacks, prove remarkably durable, beating me 10 times. One of them isn't a problem, but 2 at a time always manage to get me, more due to my allergy to touch than to their actual attacks, but same result. It is my natural inclination to keep going until I win. The stubborn, stupid approach. But at a friend's suggestion, I resist challenging the lords again and take off for the City of Tears in search of the Nail Master to improve my blade. The City of Tears is a beauty to behold, with a most fitting name. The endless rain really does a good job of hiding the stream of tears I let loose every time a sentry knocks me back to the start of my exploration. Getting knocked back does allow me to miss my jump off this elevator and see the sign for a nail pointing left. But instead of seeing that as a sure sign of the nailsmith I came here specifically to meet, I view it as a sign of danger, combat, and instead continue the opposite way, into actual combat and danger. I'm the real Hollow Knight because it's definitely hollow in here, no brain whatsoever. It's great that the sentries around here don't provide too much threat, each one being rather easy to jump over and avoid, because clearly I need all the help I can get. On the other hand, the Soul Twister appears, a foe that constantly mocks me from afar, teleporting away and sending homing blasts at me. Their obnoxious ways would not be so vile if not for the fact that they aren't bosses and so love to continue to show their faces, sometimes as duos if I'm not careful. My skill level feels more even with the mistakes, the disturbing little creatures that squirm along the floor. So why the heck am I battling the Soul Master instead? Just on my way here, I threw myself onto the spikes of the elevator top. These bosses have it easy enough, often getting a free kill the first time I meet them since I most often come in with only 1 health to my name and no knowledge of how they work. It's not a great combo. Well, it's like my great-great-auntie always used to say years ago. When you can't beat the Soul Master, take off, sell your trinkets so you can afford an improved blade, and then go back. Lose 6 more times because you struggle to dodge his homing blast, or when he changes his smash abruptly. And then overcome the magic bug by learning to prioritize your own survival, over rushing to kill him. We thought she was speaking nonsense, but she was quite the wise woman and really spot on with her predictions. With over 1700 Geo on the line, now would be a truly horrendous time to jump once again on top of the deadly spikes of an elevator, a very avoidable mistake, and then proceed to rush in the wrong direction back, needlessly fighting a Soul Twister, and then dying by falling onto a feeble mistake, costing me all that hard-earned Geo. But that's still what I do. After that, maybe I do belong down here in this pit of mistakes and follies, but then who would save the grubs and buy all of Cornifer's maps? Plus, if I give in to being goo because I ran out of all my money, then capitalism wins, and I will not accept that. I might have really stepped in it now though when I follow some hearty laughter and am ambushed by the Dung Defender. What I'm dodging between, not always successfully, I'd rather not know for certain. And I can only hope I misheard the Defender and his actual name is Doug Defender. Doug likes to frolic in the... mud? Diving in and out, and I'm quite fantastic at always being in the wrong spot when he emerges. What I do learn here in the bowels of Hollow Nest is that the less I move, often the safer I am, focusing only on moving when necessary, which is common but still less than the sporadic panic I have been doing. That, and stay in the middle so I don't get caught in a corner. Valuable lessons that help me send Doug blasting off to play with his stinky mud balls by his lonesome. The next hour I'd spend getting lost isn't as important as finding Cornifer again and gaining another cherished map. Plus, where I find him is very close to the Mantis village, allowing me to once again face off against the Lords. Except I completely forgot some of their moves while I was away, so it'd still take 2 more defeats before the Mantis Lords finally respect me. I do a little victory jig and head into the newly opened area of Deep Nest. Wow, a dark, dangerous hole. Maybe the Mantis Lords were right to not let me in here. How does one say I do not like it here and bug? The traps and creatures of this dark maze aren't too much trouble, but the fact that it is a dark maze is the exact problem. I get lost when I have maps, and even if signs tell me where to go, so take that away, add in a multitude of ways to venture, and I promise you, lost is what I shall be. My time in Deep Nest was bleak, confusing, and mostly blurred together. I found a tram pass, I found my friend Quirrell having a spa day, I ended up leaving on a tram to find Cornifer in an even deeper abyss, and then I returned to Deep Nest to parkour on nature's worst bus. Accidentally found a beehive, and then I discovered Cornifer yet again in the edge of the kingdom. He certainly gets around. I wonder if he'd tuck me in his bag of maps and carry me around from place to place. That's the dream. Speaking of dreams, I used the tram in the crossroads to discover the resting grounds of all the bugs that came before, and I come across the monument of the 3 dreamers. Their ghostly forms knock me out, trapping me in my dreams. A lot more peaceful here, but I prefer to dream of flying, or being chased endlessly, so this won't do. Good thing a moth comes along, provides me with a dream nail to escape, and then sets me on my path to vanquish the 3 dreamers. The question is, how am I supposed to reach them in the voids of my map? Who knows, but the Land of the Crystals call, and I shall answer that call. Though maybe I shouldn't, as worrisome minor bugs are all trying to pickaxe me. I just feel if you guys can recklessly chuck your mining equipment around without a care, can't you afford a safer line of work? Maybe unionize, and you won't be so grouchy with these endless hours of mining where you confuse bugs with crystals. To be fair, this bug is a crystal, so I'm starting to see where the paranoia is coming from. But he gives off so much warning before he laser beams you, so he's nothing to be too paranoid about. The real treasure to be found down here isn't crystals, geo, or even friendship. No, the real treasure is the ability to live out my dreams and fly with this crystal heart I found. If only I could aim it upwards, but I guess the world isn't quite ready for Super Night. Consulting my map, I can only feign that I know where to go next, but battling an old spirit in the fungal depths is as good as anything. Elder Hugh's bombardment of SpaghettiOs proves more than I can handle 4 times, and nearly 5 if I wasn't both lucky and really careful with my prioritization on surviving over winning. Each of the other spirits I'd meet and battle throughout my journey really embodied the idea of mastering one move and spamming it for all it's worth. But only Markoth, the final spirit I fought with his love for spinning shields and teleporting blades, would be able to get 4 wins on me as well. Marmu had the biggest impact on me though, despite only winning once. Literally, as he impacted right on my forehead, and also because he was the most fun to keep bouncing in the air. But long before Markoth and Marmu, I returned to the Abyss to use my new superpower to fly over the numerous deadly spikes that were perhaps there to say, hey, don't come this way, it's a really bad idea. Those spikes were certainly not lying, as not only did I have to contend with volcano acid bugs, but also a broken vessel. A sibling of mine now revitalized by this orange goo, which seems to be making everyone else so gassy, like the False Knight and Doug. But where those two were overall simple to help, Bro is not so much, putting up as much of a fight as the 3 Mantis Lords did all by his lonesome. Filling the arena up with the occasional goo monster and goo blast make it difficult for me to find anywhere safe, and when I do avoid those, I have a habit of getting too close and taking damage just by touch. But perhaps the real lesson here is not to get in close, but to spam my ranged blast whenever I can. That will be enough to survive and gain some wings, so my jump is extra jumpy. I wish I knew how to flap the wings multiple times in a row as I seek my dream of true flight, but this is still a step in the right direction. What is not in the right direction is deciding to use my Dream Nail on the vessel, bringing me into the dreamscape to battle an upgraded version of my sibling. I absolutely know this is a terrible idea, with so much pain to be had, that I absolutely should go do almost anything other than this. But it's right here, this close, no travel needed. I might as well try. For an hour anyway, an hour full of 52 losses, nearly 1 loss per minute, as I really checked for sure that every loss wasn't just my lost kin having beginner's luck. The huge increase in speed, aggression, and so many orange little henchgoos popping into existence might mean it's more than luck why they keep winning. Well, we can't be sure, not unless we do more experiments. I gotta say, it is very rude to summon orange minions against a pretty orange background, making it difficult to see them till I run into them. Plus, I keep getting stomped on, which as a little guy is quite the effective way to kill me. This is the kind of fight where I can do so well for a while, and then suddenly, most of my health is gone in a few seconds and I'm on death's door, then I'm tossed through death's door. Well, it's as they say, the shorter the run back, the harder the fight. Unless you're Dark Souls 2's DLC, but we don't talk about that. I'll try to be sensible and come back later when I've improved my damage a good deal more. First I'll go improve my nail, and then I'll face off against Hornet once again in a test of my worthiness. She must have really been holding back last time, as now I struggle greatly to keep up with her. You know that lesson about minimum movement so I don't end up running right into their attacks? I seem to have forgotten that in my haste, and it's really doing a number on me. Instead of trying to react faster though, mayhaps I aim to go slower. Keep a close eye on her and then move out of the way while trying for less hits so I can ensure my survival. Slower is faster. Plus, saving my Great Slash for whenever she's stunned. At 27 losses, Hornet is the second hardest boss I fought, which really goes to show. since she's another one of my siblings, that family is the biggest threat of all. It's why I prefer found family, so I can choose people who are slightly less likely to try and kill me. There is one other major location of suffering, the aptly named Colosseum of Fools. Why am I even here? Aren't there dreamers somewhere out there that need my attention instead of getting slaughtered here, fighting for... Well, I'm not even sure what I'm fighting for other than survival. Certainly not for Geo, because I lost 2,000 of it immediately after my first loss when I ran right by my shade without realizing and thought it would still be in the arena. It wasn't, and I definitely did not win despite so much being on the line. Numerous waves of enemies with the sole goal of squashing me, and after each wave, I let out a sigh of disbelief of there being yet another wave. I suppose with healing, this wouldn't be so bad, but I'm missing that, so the constant waves of opponents always ends up drowning me in the end. Once again, mayhaps better if I return later. Plus, it wouldn't be a bad idea to grab another nail upgrade. That way, when I wander into the room of 6 Watcher Knights, I'll have a pretty decent chance of walking back out. Especially if I make it 5 rolling smashing knights by destroying one with a chandelier before we even begin. Why ponder how they aren't more dizzy rolling around like this? I quite enjoy this battle, as the knights only come at me 2 at a time. 1 at a time would be too easy, and 3 would be too much probably, so I appreciate them choosing the perfect amount. Still, it costs me 13 losses as I fail to watch out for them, but I do consider them my favorite fight of all. And now, the Dreamer here is unguarded. This one was known as the Watcher, but looking through his spyglass, I see why he chose to sleep rather than keep watching. It's not a great view for detail. Really surprised these Dreamers don't fight back, and it makes me feel a tad morally wrong, but not wrong enough to stop whacking them. If I don't feel bad enough breaking into this beehive to fight all the bees defending it, losing 3,000 Geo trying to rush back to my shade stuck in the middle of enemy territory is sure to make me feel way, way worse. That, and getting stuck here for over an hour, all to earn a charm. At some point, I need to follow the step of asking why I'm here, with the second step of maybe going elsewhere instead pretty quickly. But then the maps wouldn't get filled out, and I can't have that. On the positive side of things, I gain the ability to swim in acid without being liquefied, and I find the mama of hot dogs and take her down with no trouble. Oh, and I think I discovered heaven, so that's cool. At least, I think it's heaven. It's full of monuments to creatures that want to kill me, so it may actually just be a very shiny hell. Who's to say? While exploring, I accidentally stumble right into Jellyfish headquarters, and with the help of Quarrel, easily best King Jellyfish, allowing me to shatter another Dreamer. I admittedly have no clue how I got here, as I definitely did not intend to, but I'll take it. After helping save Cloth from some rapscallions, I throw away another 2 hours battling the Lost Kin again, more than doubling my losses to 123 defeats, as I prove a better weapon does not make for a better me. Would have been nice though. Alright, I'll be back. Again. I'll go get stomped on, vomited on, and generally made uncomfortable by Nosk the Shapeshifter in Deep Nest for a while instead. I'm not the biggest fan of his home decor or his hosting skills, especially since I'm terrible at dodging his throw up, but my wings do make jumping over him while attacking the key to my success. Then after getting kidnapped by the creepiest and least trustworthy bugs in the land, I'd come across the third Dreamer, marking 3 for 3. I really thought the key figures I'd be after would be better guarded, but I suppose I'm getting myself in enough trouble with the very avoidable battles like Lost Kin in the Colosseum. Improving myself further by learning the hard-hitting Cyclone Strike, I'm then shocked when I buy the last of the maps, while Cornifer gets a much-deserved rest. I really never thought this day would arrive, but I won't feel at peace yet until I've defeated the Lost Kin. Too bad the strange but stylish circus that appears can't be investigated further, but they demand a use of a charm, and obviously no can do. Seeking as much improvement as I can before facing Lost Kin again, I go learn Shade Cloak to dash through attacks, Abyss Shriek to heavily hurt those higher beings, and some morale boosting by partying with the grubs. Then I return to the Colosseum. Using Shade Cloak and the platforms to avoid being hit by ranged attacks, it would take me an hour more of fighting to overcome the first trial. Abyss Shriek really comes in handy, especially against two of those bug mamas, and it is key to my victory. Taking a break before I continue to Trial 2, I track down and destroy the creepy shadow collector that's been trapping all the grubs, gaining me a map that lets me find and save each grub one by one. I don't know what's better, saving all these grubs or getting a surprise new map. Double win! It doesn't take too long till every grub is saved. Woohoo to that! It's nice to have a win. One that's not sullied by anything. Anything, I say. Now I have way too much geo that I can't be trusted to protect, so it's best to spend it on every charm and every other item I can get. I think it's better to spend my geo on what I can't use than to lose it all in an unfortunate insecticide, and I can certainly use the improved health in soul charges. Without these upgrades, who knows how much longer I would have been trapped in the second trial of the Colosseum of Fools, as I already must spend 6 hours battling there. 6 hours that can be summed up pretty easily. Too many bugs want me dead, and with how many waves I have to hold out against them, they definitely get their wish. Especially when we're playing the floor as lava, or I guess in this case, spikes, and I'm not terribly great at aerial combat. I'm not that kind of bug! Have you seen my flying skills? It feels extra cruel to have so many opportunities where I'd be able to heal, but the one benefit of not being able to heal is holding on to my soul to unleash as much damage as fast as I can, like tearing the annoying flyers out of the sky before they can do anything, smashing hard into the giant jumper in these tight quarters, and really letting loose on the 2 boss bugs that spray and pray the arena. Woohoo! There's 3 trials, but I just got a pale ore for winning, the last one I need to fully improve my nail, so I'm out of here. 2 is good enough for me. Now with the best weapon possible, I race to the Lost Kin, battle ferociously, and lose yet again. But only once. Shade Cloak is the unexpected MVP, as I can dash through LK instead of taking damage. But all that time earning the best weapon really does help out, as I only overcame this fight with 1 health left. Plus, prioritizing destroying the little goo monsters over everything so I wouldn't be overwhelmed means I'm finally free. For good measure, I helped the dream version of Lost Knight get some much needed rest, and then I slap around Zote's strong imaginary self. That gives me entry into the White Palace, which is platforming hell. Really, this is my reward for beating all those guys. I'd like to take it back. I bet Cornifer could have done this with no trouble, but it's nothing the 3 P's of patience, practice, and perseverance can't overcome over an hour. I probably could have finished this adventure a while ago once the Dreamers fell, but then I would have missed out on all the exploration and possibilities. Mostly painful possibilities, but still. I didn't get everything, but 105% is good enough for me, so it's time to face the titular Hollow Knight. My slightly taller sibling needs relief from the job, and I'm happy to help. If only they weren't so good at fighting. But honestly, no enemy has come close to comparing to Lost Kin, or in its second fight, or the Colosseum, especially with the short little guy here stabbing themselves to aid me in winning. Relying on dodging through the attacks with Shade Cloak, and all my improvements really helped to free my sibling of all that nasty indigestion, and take my place as the new Hollow Knight. Huzzah! After 45 hours, 55 minutes, and 651 losses, I've overcome Hollow Knight without soul healing and no charms. Thank you very much for the suggestion, and to all of you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Until we meet again, I shall be wishing upon every star for the chance to turn into a Weevil cartographer. I'll see you later, friends.